Hi everybody, this is Abby with Scrap and Abby, and I'm back with another design team project slash video for Linnie Blooms. And my project that I'm going to be creating today will be live on the blog this coming Friday, May 23rd. I will also have this on my blog, personal blog, scrap-abby.blogspot.com, with a full list of all the supplies I'm going to be using with additional photos. So what I'm going to be doing is making a card for a friend of mine and who's also a coworker who recently had surgery. And so I wanted to play with the stencils from Linnie Blooms because I haven't done that yet, and I'm going to be using the leaves and then the butterfly from here as well, possibly the flower, the larger like flower here. We'll kind of see how as the project goes along. So I'll be doing a process video sharing with you guys how I'm going to be doing this, because my post for Linnie Blooms is a tutorial. So on their blog you're going to see step out tutorial photos sharing with you guys each stage of the Linnie Blooms process that I'm working on, but I'll also do a process video on my YouTube channel just so you guys can kind of see that as a visual as well. And what I'm going to be pulling from are a couple different products. For the base of the card, I can't decide which one of these corrugated cardstock pieces I'm going to be using. This is from DCWV, and I'm going to be doing some of the stencil work on this strip of fabric that I have left over from another project, and then possibly incorporating some of these different flower stamens. We'll kind of see how that goes. I might also want to incorporate maybe some of the wheat sprays, possibly this green or this blue. And then for the Lindy sprays I plan on using, this is the Starburst and it's the Cement Green. And then this is the Mystic Malachite, and this is a Moonshadow Mist. And then one of my favorites, the Glitz Spritz. This is the, Scintillating Silver. And then the Starburst, another one. This is the Tiffany Lou Blue. I might incorporate some white in there too. We'll kind of see how that goes. And then I'm going to be pulling from the Lindy Stamp Gang LG bundle, the Lemon Lime and Gray Gray. These colors work perfectly with this color palette that I'm working with from Webster's Pages. And this is one of the collection kits. I'm just going to be breaking out some of the papers and different embellishments in here to create the card and use with the stencils. And then for the base of the card, I'm going to use the DCWV cardstock stack in neutrals. I don't know which one yet. I'll find that out when I pull it out. And then I'm going to be using some stamps. I don't know which one I'm gonna use yet. There's a couple different ones from the Close to My Heart for Everyday Occasion. There's some Get Well, Thinking of You, and then also from the Say It in Style, the same kind of thing. And then from Stampology here, this Autumn Leaves one. I like this Thinking of You because it has the butterflies, and I thought that would look really cool with this this mask right here, you know, making that to a butterfly, or just using the Hope You're Feeling hope you're feeling better soon, minus this frame around. I don't want the frame, I just want the sentiment. So we'll kind of see as I get going which one I go with. So I'm going to go ahead and get started, and I'll be back with a process video sharing with you guys how I'm using the different techniques of spraying and with the stencils. So I'll see you in just a little bit. So I went ahead and started the base of the card, and this is what I have. This is the, the base of it, and this is a strip of that corrugated cardstock, and I just did some dry brushing with some craft paint that I had left over from another project actually, and kind of getting the idea of the size and where placement or where I want to put things. So what I'm going to do now and share with you guys really quick is how I'm going to use the stencils on these different pieces of craft paper and fabric for you guys. So I'm going to be pulling from the Frozen Jack Frost from Lindy Stamp Gang. I forgot to show that in the beginning. And then the other two I did share with you guys already. Now, for some reason, this bottle's really super clogged, so I poured some into this tiny little mister here. Isn't that so pretty? Look at that. Anyway, so when you see me using this, it's that Lindy spray, just so you know. So what I'm going to do is first use the leaf stencil, and this is going to be on some of this fabric. And this is just fabric I picked up at one of the fat quarters or something like that. I can't remember exactly. And I'm going to be using a couple of the leaves, both sizes, because I don't know exactly which one I'm going to put on the actual project yet. Oops. Got my little. So let me just share with you really quickly, actually, since I have the whole package open. When you purchase the stencil masks, and this is the Bloom set, you get the stencil here, which has the larger flower and then the two leaves, and then you also get the negative of them. So you get this, the flower, and then the two leaves here. So that's pretty cool that you get that. But for this one, I'm going to use just the actual stencils. So I'm going to, this is my, I use it's like a parchment paper for baking, because I do that too. But I use that for the background on my craft table so I don't get my table all messy. So I'm just going to just lay this over here like this, and I'll zoom the camera just a little bit so you guys can see what I'm doing here. And I'm just going to use a little bit of the cement green with the, I'll show you the bottle actually so you can see it. Oops, the Mystic Malachite. I'm going to use a combination of these two. So for the first one, I'm just going to use the Mystic Malachite first, and just going to kind of spray into the stencil here. I might actually want that to go down so I don't get any pools. Make sure I'm in the frame here. Just going to spritz that over the leaf, and then a little bit went over on this side, but I don't care about that. I think that looks kind of cool. And since I'm off, I just realized because I moved it, I'm kind of off, so I'm not going to spray right here. I'm just going to go ahead and lift that up and then move this over, and then that way I can spray over here. And I'm just doing little light bits here. And then I'm going to go over with some of the green, the cement green. I'm almost out of this one. I've got to get some more. I'm going to do that here too a little bit. And that just kind of gives a little bit of dimension. You can see the little variation of color there. And then I'm going to go down here and do it again. Actually, let me go to the side. And what I want to do is just another small one. So just a little bit, and I'm going to hold up, pardon my arms here, you guys. I'm going to hold up this piece of cardstock just so I don't overspray onto my bigger leaf that I really do like how it looks. I'm going to do that. Just kind of hold it over here. There. Okay, so I'm going to do this again, a little bit of the green, the malachite, and then go back over with more of that cement right there, just like that. And then what I'm going to do, instead of just throwing this away, is I actually have cardstock that I keep at my table as I'm reaching for it, pardon me, that I use to, you know, reverse this over because I don't ever want to waste this, the sprays. And so I just flip it over and I just pat it on this paper. That's what I'm doing off camera here real quick, just to share with you. And then it kind of will dry and it'll kind of a really cool kind of look. You can run it down with your heat tool or whatever you want to do. So that's just really kind of fun. I like to do that. So I'm saving the spray and not wasting it. So there are the leaves. I'm just going to probably just settle with those 4 for right now, and I'll dry these with my heat tool, and I'll share that with you guys when I get done with how that's going to look. And then what I want to do for the other part of the card, I have a couple different stencils here, or excuse me, pieces of paper. What I did is I went ahead and cut down into 6x6 one of the pieces of cardstock from the Webster's Pages, and then I have another little strip that I just cut down to this size. No, it's not any real, I didn't really measure that one too much. And this one I'm going to use the flower stencil here. Let me grab that. Let me get my little wipe here so I can wipe off the ink. Sorry, I guess I'm not as prepared as I was thinking. Just going to kind of wipe off some of that green, just because I don't want any green on this one. There we go. And you can see the stencils wipe off really super easy. This is just a baby wipe. And then I'm just going to go ahead and lay this over here in the corner because I want to try to get as much of the paper use out of as I can. And for this one, I don't want this to be like a solid white because I still want the pattern to show through. So I'm just using some of the frozen Jack Frost. And then just give it a good shake here. And then we'll spritz that. And then what I plan on doing with this is, and some of it's a little bit lighter, and that's okay, I don't mind that, is I'm going to be doing, making a flower with this. And then I'm just going to come back over with my baby wipe and kind of dab this a little bit right there like that. I'll pull this off. And then when I use my heat tool, it's going to dry in the shape of that flower. And it's hard to tell right now because this paper has a pattern to it, but I can see here where the shape is. And so once I dry that with my heat tool, I'm going to cut out with some scissors and then I'll make a flower. So I'll show you guys that once I let that dry as well. So I'm going to set this off to the side with the other leaves that are drying. And then on my other one, let's see, I'm going to use my butterfly. I have my flower out. Let's see here. I'm going to do a butterfly next. So let me grab the next pack, and this is from the butterflies. Let me open this one. Sorry for that noise, it's kind of loud. And the same thing with the first pack I showed you. You guys also get the stencil, but you also get the negative pieces too. So, and I'm just kind of working on the stencils today is what I want to try to play and do with that. So I'm gonna just put this smaller butterfly here, right there, and I'm gonna use more of that. Actually, I think I'm gonna use a scintillating silver on this one. There's this one here. I'm just kind of playing and seeing what that looks like. So we'll do that, and then just kind of, and this scintillating silver is so pretty because this is really more of an accent. It's not like a harsh color line. And I'll carefully flip this up. But it leaves just enough color where you can see the outline of the butterfly. It might be hard for you guys to see, but I can see it pretty good. So once that dries again, I'll cut that out and then kind of let it do its thing. And then I'm going to use one of the larger butterflies, and I'm going to use that in a different color. So I'm going to put that down here since I have that one drying. And then I'll just kind of give my stencil a quick wipe here. And we're going to lay, oops, as I drop my stencil on here. So I'm going to put my bigger one down here. I'm going to flip it this way just so I'm not getting a lot of the spray in there. Alright, so let's see. Let's try it with, I'm going to try this one with Tiffany Lou Blue. Let's see what that looks like. And the cool thing about this is if you use too much, it doesn't matter because you can daub this off with your baby wipes, which is what I've been doing, as you guys can see. So if you don't want it to be too dark in some spots I don't mind it, then we'll just do that, and you just pick it up, and then there you have your butterfly. And again, it's probably hard for you guys to see on camera, but I can definitely see the outline of the butterfly. So I'm going to go ahead and let these dry. I'm going to cut them out, and I'll come back and share with you guys what they look like. Just a sec. Okay, so I went ahead and cut out my leaves that I used the different sprays on that I shared with you guys in the last part of the video. You can see here the different two tones with those, using those two different sprays. Love that. And this, you know, the masks, the stencils were just phenomenal. It was just really super easy. And then I'll just share with you really quickly. I'm just going to cut this last one out. So what I'm going to be doing once I get this last leaf cut out is I'm going to use my distress tool, and I'm using the one from Prima. You can use any one you want. I have a couple different ones, but this particular one has the little like wire brush at the end of it, and that's going to help distress and kind of fray this fabric because I want these leaves to kind of have a little bit of a tattered look. I like them just like they are, of course, but I think they're really cute when they have that little bit of extra texture. So I'll just do one just to show you guys what that's going to look like, and this is the tool I'm talking about. And I'm just going to take the bottom piece off, and that's the little metal brush. So I'm going to zoom in just a little bit closer so you can see what I'm doing. Oops, I always go the wrong way. There we go. Alright, so as you can see, the edge of the, you notice where I cut it, it's just a real nice smooth edge. You can see a little glisten right there. That's so pretty. I'm just taking this tool and I'm just going to distress the edges of it. And depending on the thickness or the heaviness of your fabric, it will depend on how much pressure you put on there or how much distressing you want. Sometimes I want just a light hand and I don't do a whole lot of it, or sometimes I want it to be a little more grungy looking. Then I'll just kind of go in there a little bit heavier hand with that distress tool. I'm going to flip it this way. And sometimes the different fabrics you get, they can also almost be like, you know, they like the grain with the way the fibers are going. So sometimes you'll have a little more resistance. And if you find that, just go ahead and, you know, flip your fabric around. And then I'm just kind of snipping the edges off here a little bit. I don't want some of that fray to show, so I'm not going to do it all. But you guys can kind of see, put on my hand there, you can kind of see, you know, the distressing compared to what the regular leaf looks like. So I'm going to do that on the rest of those leaves, and I'm probably not going to use all of them on this project, but at least I'll have some left over for another time. And this next one, I'm going to show you, this is the star, or excuse me, the flower that I shared with you guys. And then, you know, I was able, you probably couldn't see it too clear on camera, but when I held it up, when I was fussy cutting it out, I could get a little more dimension. And it's okay if it's not perfect because it's going to, I'm going to do another technique with this. I'm going to get this wet. I don't want my paper towels get wet here because I'm going to crinkle this one up. So I'm just going to take some water in a sprayer that I have and just kind of lightly spray it. And you know, some of the white lindies might come off, and that's okay because you can always add more. This paper is a little bit thicker because it's a Webster's pages and it's a little bit thicker cardstock. So I'm just going to spray the back side too and just kind of get it wet. And I'm just going to take this and crumple it in my hand like that. And kind of get this, you know, distressed kind of look, which is what I'm going for. I like that crumpled look. And just do that. Let me put that back down, do this, and then you can see how that turned out using that stencil like that. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of crumple this a little bit the way I want it to. You can even take your fingernail and just kind of on the edge a little bit and kind of do a little bit of tearing once it's wet with the water. If you find that certain parts aren't quite wet enough, then you can just get it wet again a little bit more, but I think mine's pretty good. I'm going to crumple just a little bit more. And I'll show you guys. There. Yeah, I like that. And then you can have some of the points bending out straight if you want off the flower, if you want to do that. And just kind of put it in the shape that you think you want it to go on your card or whatever project is you're working on. For my my tutorial, it's obviously a card. So I'm going to do that. I'm just going to take my heat tool real quick. And this won't take very long to dry. And then the last one I'm going to show you is on the butterfly. So while I'm doing that, let me go ahead and hold that up. This is the butterfly. What I did with this one, I don't think I showed this on camera, but on the in the package, you get those little pieces, the cutout pieces. I just sprayed on top of it and then flipped it over onto this piece of cardstock, and then it made that butterfly. It's kind of almost like a watercolor type image. I'm going to use my distress tool on that. And this is the other one I shared with you guys where I'd used the stencil. This is the other butterfly with some of that Tiffany blue on it. So I'm also going to distress the edge of this one. And this one has that Linnie silver. You can see a little shimmer there. So all three of those are going to get distressed with my distress tool. And for that one, I'm going to be using this Tim Holtz one here. I'm going to flip this over. Okay. Okay, let that sit for a second. And then I'm going to work on the distressing part. So this is just because I'm kind of having that frayed kind of look. So this is the tool. I have a couple different ones. You can use whichever kind works for you. And then I'm just going to go over the edges like this and make it really distressed looking. So look at the back side of that paper. Isn't that funny? It's like Christmas red. It just cracks me up that that's the back side of this kind of neutral colored paper. So that's why I'm really only using this side, because it's a little bit bright for probably what I would use to craft with. Oops. And just kind of go around, and there's again no rhyme or reason to this because it's just to be, distressed looking. So you can interpret that as you wish. And again, just like with the first tool I was using on the leaf, you can have as heavy of a hand or light a hand as you want when you're doing this. And sometimes I'll let the paper flip over, I don't mind, but since I'm not having any red, and that's red on the back, I'm just going to kind of flip this back up just a little bit so some of that red's not showing quite so much. So I'm going to go ahead and distress a little bit more with this, and then I'm going to add some ink and whatnot to it. But I just wanted to do a quick video to share with you guys how I'm using the pieces that I use with a stencil. So going, from just the leaf like that, using the distress tool, fraying the edges, and then getting this wet, and then crumpling it up and using your heat tool to dry it. I'll go over this with some ink as well. It's going to give it some really cool texture. I'm also going to use more of the Linnie spray on there as well. And then just the butterfly image, just simply taking the distress tool. So this is just kind of a fun way that you can use the Linnie Bloom stencils. Once you're done, you can just do some distressing, some spraying, and then water and crumpling it up. And I forgot to mention when I was showing these in the first part of the video, real quick, I'll share with you on the back of the pack. They also have like little guides that have like little samples. So if you guys aren't sure how to incorporate or use any of the stencils when you buy them, this kind of gives you an idea on the back of the packaging, and then also in the Linnie Bloom's catalog. So I'm going to go ahead and start putting the card together, and I'll be back with a completed project. And here I am with the completed card, and I am super excited with the way this turned out. I love it. It was a little bit different direction than what I kind of had in my mind. I pulled a couple of things off that I shared with you guys during the process or tutorial portion off of the card because I really wanted to incorporate this larger butterfly. And I have my fan going over there, so that's why this is moving. So sorry, it's really warm here today. Anyway, so let me share with you really quickly again the items that I added to the card that I didn't share in the first part of the video, and then of course show you guys the stencils, since this is a Linnie Bloom's Design Team project. So I think I did mention this, but I used some of the LG bundle from 3 Girl Jam, the lemon lime and the gray. And then I added just some of these smaller flat back pearls. These are from Queen & Company. The stamens that I showed you guys in the beginning, I did use those. I used just a little snippet of this green floral trim that came in the Webster's Collection paper kit that I used for the card. I just cut off one and stuck it in the center of my paper flower. For the ink, I used the archival ink in jet black. And then for inking, or for the distressing around the edge of the paper, I used the Ice Spruce from Tim Holtz. And then the sentiments I ended up using were from the Say It in Style from my close, or excuse me, from Close to My Heart. And I ended up using the Feel Better Soon and Friend. And from also from the card collection, or the paper kit from Webster's Pages, this was in there, and this had that green trim wrapped around it. I used portions of the black pearls on here as well. And I think that was it. And I shared the sprays already. Oh, and I did add, speaking of sprays, some of these white pearl sprays on the top of the card. So let me go ahead and share with you what I made. So as you guys saw, I showed you how I made the flower, how I did the leaves, and then how I did the butterfly. And actually what I did here is I used both of those butterflies. So you can see the other one, you can see I just used some dimensional adhesive just to pop it up a little bit. But this shows you, this way it gives a little bit, it looks like it's giving flight kind of, and I like that. So when the card is standing up, it's really dimensional. I think that looks cool. If you guys know me and follow me, I love thick, chunky, textured, layered stuff. It's just fun for me. And I think this is really neat. So it's just a kind of a cool way to use your stencils. You know, you can make these images that pop off your card, make your own embellishments. And then I just added some flat back pearls. These are the stamens that I used from the flowers. I made little antennas for the butterfly. Here you're going to see the two larger leaves that I distressed on the edges, and I did some spraying, tuck up behind the larger flower. And before I put the flower down, I added a couple sprigs of the pearl spray. And this is the flower that I got wet, crinkled it up, inked it up, and put one of the green flowers ribbon trims right in the center there. And then I just wrapped some of the lemon lime crinkle ribbon around the base of the card. Here's some of those black pearls I was telling you about, and up here as well. It's kind of an accent. And then this is one of the sentiments. Let me show you. It's actually like a piece of canvas, and it had a different saying on it. It didn't fit with the card, so I just used some craft paint, put a couple light coats over it, and I was able to stamp it, and you can't even tell. I think it looks perfect. So Feel Better Soon, Friend. And then I just tied a little bit of the gray and stapled it onto the edge there, and this is the corrugated cardstock. I did some tearing, just added some more of that same craft paint. I just did a dry brush technique. And then you can flip the card open, and then here's the inside. And I just added some more of that, the little pearl strip there, and then I just clustered some of the more of the crinkle ribbon, added 3 staples with my tiny tacher. This is just a lighter piece of color cardstock that goes in the collection, so we were able to write on the card. And then I just matted this to look like the front, and this just has a simple whitewash with some of that same craft paint and water, just to kind of give it a lighter look. And I'll show you if I have a strip out still. I might have put it away, but it was just a little bit darker blue, which was pretty, but I really wanted the kind of that whitewash kind of look. So again, just to share with you guys, I used stencils from both of these stencil packs from Linnie Blooms, the stencils and masks. This is the bloom. I'm so sorry. I'm not sure why I can't talk this afternoon. This is crazy. I used the bloom, and I used the larger circle or larger flower, which is what you guys see right here. And then from the butterflies, I used the butterfly. I did 2, but I actually ended up using 2 of the largers. And then down here, the leaves, I end up making keeping just the larger one for the project. And again, on the back side, it kind of gives you guys some project ideas if you aren't sure what to do with your stencils and masks when you purchase them. I'm really excited with those. I love them. I'm going to be purchasing more actually because I want to play with them some more. So here's the card up close again. Pardon my fan blowing the piece of ribbon. So if you guys have any questions on any of the techniques that I shared in the process video in the tutorial portion, please leave me a comment, or you can always send me an email to scrapandabby@gmail.com. I'm more than happy to, answer any questions you guys might have, or to do some additional tutorials using the different stencils and masks from Linnie Blooms, as well as the canvas pieces. And again, this is not one of the canvas pieces. This is from the stencil. And what I did, it looks like it's one of the canvas pieces, I think, but it was it was a strip of fabric. I had a little scrap of fabric left, and I just did some spraying with some mists on there, and that made those little leaves, and I distressed them. So that's the project. So you guys want to make sure you check out the Linnie Blooms blog. My card and the video, of course, will be up live on their blog this coming Friday, May 23rd. It'll also be on my blog with a full product list of everything that I use with some additional photos. And then again, it's going to be step out tutorial photos in the blog post itself, because I took pictures of each process I did that I shared with you guys on camera. So you want to make sure you do that. I'll put a link in the description box below directly to the Linnie Blooms store, as well as to the Linnie Blooms blog. So thanks you guys, happy crafting, and I'll see you next time.